Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we're diving into the chapter 154 of Standard of Reincarnation. The tension is rising higher than ever, and the stage is set for one of the most intense moments so far. If you haven't seen the earlier parts, make sure to check out the playlist on my channel so you can catch up from the beginning. And if you're already up to speed, then get ready, because things are about to heat up. The new chapter begins right where the last one ended. Hannah, defeated by Vincent, has collapsed unconscious. A medical team rushes into the stadium, carefully carrying her out. The bleeding has stopped. She'll recover soon. Move her carefully, one of the medics announces. Meanwhile, Vincent remains standing firm at the center of the arena. His gaze sharpens as he thinks to himself. Now, there's nowhere left to run. Raising his voice, he calls out, echoing through the stadium. I have proven my worth. My martial power has already surpassed the level of a fortress-ranked warrior. So come out, Carmen. From above, a sword suddenly drops, clattering onto the ground. Carmen, who had been watching silently from the audience, steps forward. No need to call out so loudly, he says coldly. I'm already here. He lands, gripping the sword he had just thrown down, and points it straight at Vincent. I told you clearly 2 years ago, didn't I? That when I return. Carmen's face twists in anger as he growls. I'd send you back to your lowly mother. Vincent doesn't hesitate. He calls out to the referee, Revan, start the duel immediately. Revan nods firmly. Yes. Vincent then turns his glare back to Carmen. Seems you've forgotten what I said back then. For insulting my birth mother, you will pay the price, Lord Carmen. The referee raises his white flag. Both sides, prepare. The two warriors lower their stances, swords in hand, ready to strike at any moment. Begin, Revan declares. In an instant, both Carmen and Vincent launch forward, charging straight at each other. Carmen grins, showing his teeth with confidence, while Vincent grits his own in fiery anger. Their blades clash with an explosive crash. A surge of purple energy erupts from the impact, blasting outward like thunder. Lightning crackles across the battlefield, and the force is so immense that it blinds the audience in a flash of dazzling light. Ugh, my body's being torn apart by mana. Saizen cries out from the stands, shielding his eyes. Nearby, Loa, Adenka, and Damien watch in shock. Loa's voice trembles. Just clashing swords and mana alone causes this much force. Reporters on the other side are equally stunned. Maria gasps. Incredible. She quickly turns to Herka. But what blessing does Lord Carmen wield? Even our side doesn't seem to know. Herka shakes his head. None. Maria blinks in confusion. Huh. Herka explains firmly. Patriarch Khan, Dia, and Carmen were not born with any blessings. Pure martial strength, that's their talent. Though Carmen's talent was always a bit lacking. Even Vincent will struggle in a head-on fight. The duel raged on, steel clashing again and again. Vincent met Carmen's furious onslaught with calm precision, their swords sparking as they ground together. Carmen bared his teeth in a savage grin, pressing forward with brute force. But Vincent's blade did not falter. His defense was flawless. Up in the audience, two Adenka elders, Fidenel and Iagal, leaned forward, grinning just as fiercely as Carmen. That's right, they muttered under their breath. Carmen might lose to Dia, but he's still far beyond Vincent's reach. Patriarch Khan, however, watched in silence, his expression grave. His thoughts churned heavily within. Normally, this should be Carmen's overwhelming victory. Even if Vincent consumed the heavenly fruit, Carmen's strength isn't something so easily overcome. But if it's Vincent's sword, it might just be able to stop Carmen's ambition. Back in the arena, their duel tore the stadium apart. The sheer force of their movements cracked stone and sent shockwaves rippling through the air. Vincent held his distance carefully, his eyes never leaving Carmen as he thought to himself. Truly, he has the strength to speak of the family head's seat. His swordsmanship and mana control are clearly above mine. If this were me from 2 years ago, I wouldn't have survived a single strike. In that case, Carmen lunged again, his blade slicing toward Vincent. But Vincent slipped aside each time, dodging narrowly as every missed strike shattered the ground instead. Dust and rubble sprayed with every blow, the arena floor crumbling beneath Carmen's wrath. Finally, Carmen let out a mocking laugh. After all that boasting, all you can do is run? Was this pathetic display all you had to show after making such noise? The two paused, facing each other in the center of the wrecked stadium. Carmen lowered his sword slightly, his voice edged with disdain. This is starting to get disappointing. But then Vincent smiled faintly, lifting his blade again. That's my line. Lord Carmen's strikes are slicing nothing but air, aren't they? Carmen raised his blade high, fury burning in his eyes. Don't worry. This time, I'll take your head. But before he could finish, a sound echoed through the arena, the quiet splash of water. Carmen froze. Water sound. He turned his head sharply, and there, to his left, water began to rise. His teeth clenched in realization. This is Vincent's water blessing. Across from him, Vincent calmly raised his right hand, his voice steady and clear. I was buying time while dodging attacks to draw up groundwater. The water swirled and gathered at his command, rippling upward like a living force. His fingers curled, as if seizing control of the entire arena. Now, Vincent declared, his voice ringing through the wreckage. This battlefield belongs to me. With a sudden motion, he clenched his fist. A torrent surged upward, flooding the stadium as if the very earth itself had burst open. The audience gasped and shouted in alarm. Water is swirling through the arena. Lord Carmen is trapped. Isn't this dangerous? The rising waters formed a colossal sphere, a prison of swirling currents that enclosed Carmen completely. But then, a flash of light cut through the water. A powerful slash ripped apart the prison in an instant. Carmen roared, his blade glowing as he unleashed his technique. Divine slash sword dance. The sphere exploded outward in a storm of water, breaking apart under his strike. Carmen lowered his sword, water dripping from his face as he snarled. With this little water trick, demon, you think you can bring me down? Vincent only stood taller, his eyes sparking with resolve. After playing with water, you'd better beware of electrocution. For the first time, hesitation flickered across Carmen's face. Damn it. Was this your plan from the start? Electric mana crackled around Vincent's blade, arcs of lightning surging outward. Then, with a blinding flash, he unleashed it. Bolts crashed down upon Carmen like a thunderstorm, lightning filling the arena. The blast was so massive it shrouded the stadium in a choking cloud of dust, the ground trembling beneath its force. Through the haze, Vincent charged forward, sword in hand, closing the distance toward Carmen. Vincent's thoughts raced as lightning still crackled in the air. Hit squarely by the combined might of Poseidon and the Thunder Giant. Carmen is defenseless right now. I'll end it here. I'll chain all my blessings into this one strike. Mana surged around him as chains of light formed, wrapping tightly around his sword. The weapon glowed with the combined power of water, thunder, and spirit, each blessing weaving together into something greater. Chain Link 1, Whole Spirit. Vincent roared. His blade shone brighter, every blessing igniting in harmony, preparing for the final blow. He raised it high, then brought it down with overwhelming force. The slash tore forward, massive and unstoppable. A blinding light erupted, so brilliant it seemed as though the very heavens themselves had descended upon the stadium. The earth trembled, the blast consumed everything, leaving behind choking dust and silence. From the sidelines, Maria clutched her chest, her eyes wide. Lord Commander. Herka could only stare, trembling. What in the world is going on? But as the haze began to clear, her eyes caught something. No way. Even the referee, Revan, was struck speechless. This is impossible. Vincent himself stood frozen, staring into the settling cloud. His voice cracked with disbelief. This is... And then, the scene revealed itself. His sword, empowered by all his blessings, had struck Carmen, but it stopped at his arm. Carmen's bare left hand, wrapped around the blade, had caught the strike. The steel shuddered, but his flesh was completely unharmed. There wasn't a single scratch. Vincent's eyes went wide. How? Carmen, are you cloaked in the Dwarf King's blessing? At last, the truth emerged. Carmen had revealed another hidden trump card, the indomitable blessing of the Dwarf King. And that wraps up today's chapter of Standard of Reincarnation. Things are only getting more exciting, and I'll be here every week bringing you the next chapters as they release. A huge thank you to all of you for watching, and an extra special thanks to the members who've joined the channel. Your support means a lot and really helps me keep making these videos. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and check out the playlist if you've missed any chapters. And of course, I'll see you all in the next one.